Hello and welcome to another What's Inside. Today we are looking at Candyland game. This is from Milton Bradley. The copyright says 1962. It's game number 4921 in the Milton Bradley lineup. This one's in really tough shape, so you'll have to bear with me a little bit. Sorry about the glare, I can't do much about that unfortunately. And the box design was cool because they used to have like little gumdrops and little design along it. But they always cheaped out on the bottom, so there was never anything there. But you get a pretty good idea of what it looked like. So let's take a look at what we've got here. Oh, I didn't show the other side. See, this is Candyland. There's the product number. Okay, as usual with these, the instructions are printed on the lid. So, you can see the copyright here says 1962. And this one's in pretty beat up shape, as you can tell, starting to age and warp. And they did advertise other games like Uncle Wiggly. I don't know if I would trust anybody named Uncle Wiggly around my kids. But standard rules for Candyland, I don't think they've changed ever. Now, my copy is missing a few pieces, but you'll get the general idea of what's supposed to be here. I've got 3 of the movers. Now this game is for, I believe, up to 8 players. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, 4 to 8. Could have just looked at the box. But I've got the blue, green, and red movers. Now, you know these are original Milton Bradley because they have the MB on the bottom, which was pretty common at the time. You can find replacement ones, but they won't have the MB because they'll be made by some generic manufacturer. So if you could make sure you have the original ones, it really increases the value and collectability of these, if that's what you're doing. And also these do tend to get broken pretty easily because the plastic is really dated. It's old, it's not that high quality, but that was the plastic that was available in the early 60s. So here's our card deck. We'll look at that last. In the meantime, let's take a look at the board. Like I said, this one's in pretty rough shape, but you'll know what to look for. As always, you'll want to check the seam. This one's pretty well broken apart. As you can see, you've got the molasses swamp, the gingerbread house, the ice cream floats, lollipop woods, the crooked old peanut brittle house. Over here you've got the gumdrop mountains, gingerbread plum tree, peppermint sticks, candy hearts, and I assume Hansel and Gretel. There's the rainbow trail. It is really nice vintage looking art, so it does have that cool kind of retro 50s look. And I think this imagery is from 55 because it says 1955 on the cover art. But this edition is actually from 62, as you saw from the copyright inside of the lid. The art is just from that era. So it's an easy mistake to make to see the 1955 and think this is the 55 edition. It's not. There's actually 2 different images that they use from around this era. It's this one, and then there's a different one with the kids running. And it's only 2 kids instead of 3. So be aware of that. I think it's this image actually that's on the cover of the other version of it. But so make sure if you're buying this, you're getting the one that you want or the one you need for your set, because I think this one is actually a little more rare. So let's take a look at the cards. Now I have 65 cards. I believe there's actually supposed to be 70, but based on what you see here, you'll be able to extrapolate what colors are missing, because it's mostly the color-coded ones that are missing, as far as I can tell. And now these tend to age really poorly because they're effectively just really cheap, thin cardstock. So if you can find these in nice shape, that's really rare. And as we see, somebody substituted one of the cards in here. There's the candy cane. You want to make sure these are there, especially because those are going to be a little harder to replicate or replace. I have seen the game board itself. Saw the back on here is red. I've seen some that are blue. I think that was just what they had at the factory. I don't think it makes that big of a difference, but if you're real particular about it, you'll probably want to investigate that a little further or get both of them or whatever. However you want to add to your collection. Now this set has been lovingly used over the years, so the cards actually look better on video than they do in real life. Alright, and here's the card that was replaced. Somebody wrote heart card on it. There's supposed to be a card with 3 hearts on it for the heart area at the beginning of the game. There's the gumdrops. I think that's the ice cream. Now, there's no numbers on any of these. This was long before that was ever a thing. So if you can find replacement cards, you're going to need to know specifically which ones most likely you're missing. There's a peanut brittle. That looks like poop. The problem with a lot of these older games is finding the pieces in good condition, so you can complete them and have a nice set. Somebody drew on that one, that's annoying. There's a gingerbread man. And finally, so those are the 65 I have. Like I said, I think there's 5 that are missing. And obviously the hearts one has been replaced with just some random piece of cardstock. And the insert that would go over top of here is missing as well, and that's bound to happen occasionally, especially with games this old. So that is the 1962 version of Candyland. Like I said, the insert card piece that's usually here is almost always gone on games this old, and it's really hard to find a complete one. So if you can use this video to kind of cobble together a complete game, hopefully that'll help. This is a very, very difficult to find complete game, just because it is aimed at such a young group of kids that, you know, would tend to be a little rougher with their things and don't have the motor skill usually to kind of not bend stuff or break stuff. So it's not that big of a deal, but it's ages 4 to 8, so kids get a little rambunctious. But as an adult collector, it makes it a lot more difficult to put this together as a complete piece of memorabilia. But it's a cool little set. The art has that cool retro 50s look to it, and the board looked really awesome. My copy's pretty beat up, but you know, it is what it is. But we've seen what's in the box, giving you kind of an idea what you can look for if you're trying to pick this up used, because finding it new, good luck with that. And I think it's a cool vintage old set. So if you're looking for a little throwback to the old times, or just to add a piece of memorabilia to your game board collection or other vintage stuff, this would be a good one to have. But that's going to do it for me. We've seen what's inside. You've heard my take on it. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future unboxings and reviews. If you'd like to help the channel in other ways, links are in the description to my Streamlabs, Patreon, and Teespring store. And if you're into comic books, check out Bad Comic Reviews, where I try and review comic books every day if possible. And as always, we hope to see you on the next episode.